Welcome back to our series on AI prompt engineering for professionals. In episode 1, we explored what prompting is and why it has the power to transform your day-to-day work. But here's the truth. Most professionals who experiment with AI get frustrated. They type a simple question into ChatGPT and get back a vague, surface-level answer. The problem isn't the AI, it's the prompt. The AI is only as good as the instructions you give it. If your input is sloppy, the output is generic. And that's where today's framework comes in. We're going to show you a 5-step structure that consistently turns vague, unhelpful AI into an assistant that thinks and responds like a skilled professional. Think of it like training a junior analyst, except it happens in seconds. Here's what we'll cover in this episode. First, I'll explain each step of the framework with specific examples. Second, we'll look at bad versus good prompts so you can see exactly how much difference this makes. And third, we'll give you case studies from areas like equity research, credit risk, and auditing so you can apply this immediately to your work. But of course, this applies to other professional areas. By the end, you'll have a mental model you can use for every AI interaction, whether you're analyzing a company, drafting a report, or preparing for a board presentation. So, here's the big picture. If you ask an AI, tell me about company X, you'll get general facts, maybe some recent news, maybe some filler sentences. But if you instead give it structured, professional instructions, the AI stops behaving like a search engine and starts behaving like your own virtual associate. The 5 steps are: 1. Set the role. 2. Define the task. 3. Add context. 4. Specify the output format. And 5. Refine through iteration. Let's go through each, slowly, with examples you can adapt today.
Step 1. For your prompt, set the role. Why does setting the role matter? Well, finance or any other professional area is full of specialist mindsets. An equity analyst thinks differently from an internal auditor, and a regulator thinks differently from a trader. Imagine you didn't know your role. You would find it difficult to respond, and in the same way, the AI needs to know who it's supposed to be able to give you a good response in a persona. An example of a bad prompt is, explain how interest rates affect markets. A good prompt, on the other hand, will be, you are a senior macroeconomist at a central bank. Explain how rising interest rates affect equity valuations in emerging markets, with references to historical data. See the difference? The second role setting isn't just generic or missing. It's tailored to a role, with provide the right depth and tone. To take a couple of more finance examples. For auditors, you are a Big 4 auditor specializing in SOX and operational risk. For traders, you are a volatility trader focusing on derivatives in the U.S. options market. Each role frames the answer differently.
Step 2. Now you need to define the task. Once the AI knows who it is, you need to tell it what to do. The mistake most people make is being too vague. If you just say, analyze this company, the AI doesn't know what level of detail you want. Instead, give it a concrete assignment. So for example, a bad prompt is, give me a report on company X. But an example of a good prompt, where you define the task more explicitly, is, prepare a 2-page valuation report on company X, including a discounted cash flow analysis and a relative comparison against its top 3 competitors. Notice how the verbs, prepare, include, compare, act like instructions to a junior analyst. To take a couple of more finance examples. For risk management, draft a 1-page summary of credit exposures for mid-sized banks, highlighting concentration risks. For compliance, prepare a checklist of 10 key MiFID D2 obligations for wealth management firms, formatted for use in a report. The more specific your task, the more usable the AI's response will be.
Step 3. Let's move on to adding context. Context is the secret ingredient. Without it, your output will always feel generic. Think of context as the environment, industry, geography, timeframe, regulations, or company details. For example, the company operates in the renewable energy sector, focusing on offshore wind projects in Southeast Asia. Include recent government incentives. To take finance examples, we could say, for something audit-related, focus on IFRS 9 standards as applied to loan loss provisioning in European retail banks. Or, for trading-related, assume a short-term horizon of 30 days and focus on option strategies tied to earnings announcements. Adding this detail makes your output feel custom-built for your work.
Step 4. Now specify the output format. Even if the AI has the right role, task, and context, the way it presents the output makes all the difference. Normally, people make vague requests, such as, summarize this. What you need to do is make a precise request. For example, summarize this into a 5-bullet executive briefing. There are lots of different types of formats you can request, depending on the AI you are using. Tables. These are great for financial data, risk comparisons, control testing results. Bullet points, perfect for board updates or client-ready talking points. Slide outlines. This output can save hours in PowerPoint preparation. Or narrative reports, which can provide detailed memos or audit report writing as examples. Let's take a finance-specific example. Present the findings in a 3-column table: valuation method, result, and key assumptions. This single step can save hours of reformatting.
Step 5. Refine through iteration. Here's the mindset shift. Your first prompt isn't the final version. It's the first draft. Treat the AI like a junior colleague. The first draft sets the base, then you guide it. Example. First prompt. You are a senior credit risk manager. Draft a 1-page briefing on how rising rates affect mid-sized manufacturers in Europe. The output might be good, but then you refine. Expand the section on regulatory risks with 3 recent case studies. Now the output becomes stronger, richer, and closer to what you'd actually send to management. Iteration is where you move from useful to excellent.
Now let's put all 5 steps together in one single prompt in an example. You are a senior credit risk manager. Prepare a 1-page briefing on the impact of rising interest rates on mid-sized manufacturing firms in Europe. Include historical data from the last 10 years, summarize in bullet points, and present in a PowerPoint slide format. Notice how that one prompt bakes in. Role: credit risk manager. Task: prepare a briefing. Context: interest rates, manufacturing firms in Europe, 10 years of data. Format: bullet points, slide ready. Iteration: refine based on feedback. This is the complete framework in action.
So here's your key takeaway. Every time you sit down with AI, think in this sequence: role, task, context, format, iterate. With practice, this becomes second nature. You'll start thinking in frameworks, not random questions, and the quality of your AI outputs will skyrocket. Next episode, we'll go deeper into personas and context, showing you how to make AI think exactly like the finance expert you need, whether that's, for example, a regulator, a trader, or an auditor. But let me remind you again, this isn't just for finance people. This technique is relevant for all professionals and non-professionals too. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. And if you'd like to accelerate your journey, check the description for Advanced Prompt Pack. Ready-made prompts you can use. They are work in progress, so they might not be ready, but please do come back and check. Until next time, keep prompting with purpose.